A blue wave coast to coast. Democrats sweep big races in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia. Plus, a catastrophic crash at an American airport. A UPS cargo plane slams down after takeoff. Flames, debris, and tragedy on the tarmac. And the tariffs that rock global trade, now headed to the U.S. Supreme Court. Did President Trump have the power or go too far? The stories that matter, clear and credible. From across the country to around the world. These are your unbiased updates from Straight Arrow News. Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Election Day 2025 is in the books, and Democrats delivered a blue wave across the country. From the nation's biggest city to key governor's races in Virginia and New Jersey, progressives celebrating big gains that could reshape the political map heading into 2026. Starting in New York City, a political earthquake there, Democrat Zohran Mamdani defeated former Governor Andrew Cuomo and Republican Curtis Sliwa in a three-way race that captivated the city. The 34-year-old Democratic socialist will be the city's first Muslim mayor, its first of South Asia heritage, and the youngest in more than a century. Mamdani's win is being touted as a victory for the party's progressive wing and a direct rebuke to President Trump, who warned he would take over New York if Mamdani won.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant. So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
Turnout topped 2 million, the highest in a New York City mayoral race in more than 50 years. Democrats also scored major wins in governor's races. In Virginia, Abigail Spanberger defeated Republican Winsome Earl Sears, turning the state blue and making history as Virginia's first woman governor. In New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill beat Republican Jack Ciattarelli, extending Democratic control of the State House for a third straight term, something that has not happened since the 1960s. And in California, a powerful statement from voters. Governor Gavin Newsom's Prop 50, a plan to redraw the state's congressional map, is projected to pass with more than 65% support.
But it was not just a victory tonight for the Democratic Party, it was a victory for the United States of America, for the people of this country and the principles that our founding fathers lived and died for. And so we're proud. We're proud here in California to be part of this narrative this evening. We're proud of the work that the people of the state of California did tonight to send a powerful message to an historic president.
The new map could add as many as 5 new Democratic House seats, giving the party a crucial edge heading into next year's midterms. Republicans currently hold a slim 219 to 213 advantage in the House with 3 vacancies. At least 7 people are dead this morning and nearly a dozen more injured after a UPS cargo plane crashed during takeoff in Louisville, Kentucky. A horrifying scene caught on video from multiple angles. It was unbelievable. A quick warning, the video is hard to watch. The jet had just left the runway at UPS Worldport, Louisville's main hub, heading for Honolulu around 5:15 p.m. when it erupted in a massive fireball. Just seconds earlier, video shows the plane struggling to lift off, flames trailing from its left wing before slamming into a nearby petroleum recycling facility. The impact set off a chain of secondary explosions and sent a plume of black smoke into the air, visible for miles. All 3 crew members on board were killed, along with 4 people on the ground. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear warned the death toll could rise, calling some of the injuries very significant. Firefighters worked into the night to contain the inferno, a daunting task with more than, get this, 38,000 gallons of fuel on board. The NTSB is now leading the investigation into what caused the crash. UPS has halted operations at its Louisville hub, the company's largest in the world, which sorts more than 400,000 packages an hour. No word yet on when it will reopen. In Washington, day 36, and the federal government shutdown is now the longest in U.S. history. The Senate on Tuesday failed for the 14th time to pass a short-term funding bill that would reopen the government even temporarily. Democrats are still insisting any deal include funding to extend health care subsidies under the Affordable Care Act. Republicans say those talks can only happen after the government opens. Meanwhile, the impact is spreading fast at the nation's airports. Staffing shortages are growing. Air traffic controllers and TSA workers continue to work without pay, and many are now calling out sick. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is warning of mass chaos ahead, saying parts of U.S. airspace could soon have to close. Senate Republicans head to the White House for a breakfast meeting with the president as both sides look for a way out of a stalemate that's now entered its sixth week. A blockbuster case at the U.S. Supreme Court this morning, one that could rewrite the balance of power between the president and Congress and cost businesses tens of billions of dollars. The justices will hear arguments on whether President Trump had the legal authority to unilaterally impose his global tariffs, taxes on imported goods that have touched everything from toys and textiles to cars and medical equipment. The case centers on a 1977 law that lets a president act in a national emergency. Trump used it to declare economic emergencies with more than 100 countries, levying tariffs as high as 100+%. Lower courts have ruled that he went too far, saying the power to regulate is not the power to tax. Earlier this week, Trump told reporters he'll be watching this case closely.
I think it's the most important decision, one of the most important decisions in the history of our country. Because without tariffs, without our being able to use tariffs freely, openly, and in every way, we would suffer tremendously from a national security standpoint. The national security of our country is at stake. It's the biggest, I think it's one of the biggest decisions in the history of the Supreme Court.
Trump argues that losing this case would strip future presidents of a critical national security tool. White House officials saying Tuesday they're confident the high court will rule their way.
This case is not just about President Trump. It's about the use of this emergency authorization for tariffs for future presidents and administrations to come. And we're confident and hopeful that the Supreme Court will do the right thing.
But small businesses and several states say the emergency law was never meant to let presidents tax imports on a whim, warning the move has already wiped out profits, raised prices, and cost jobs. Tariff revenue hit a record of about $30 billion in both August and September. Legal experts say the decision could reshape both the economy and the presidency, testing how much power a president can claim in the name of national security. A ruling is expected sometime next year. The battle over food stamps is getting even hotter after President Trump suggested he could halt SNAP payments entirely until Democrats reopen the government. The president posting on Truth Social that benefits, quote, will be given only when the radical left Democrats open up government. That message directly conflicted with a federal court order requiring the administration to resume SNAP payments for 42 million Americans. Hours later, the White House walked it back, saying Trump wasn't threatening to cut off aid, just expressing frustration about using emergency funds to cover it.
The administration is fully complying with the court order. I just spoke to the president about it. The recipients of these SNAP benefits need to understand it's going to take some time to receive this money because the Democrats have forced the administration into a very untenable position. We are digging into a contingency fund that is supposed to be for emergencies, catastrophes, for war. And the president does not want to have to tap into this fund in the future. And that's what he was referring to in his Truth Social post.
The administration insists partial payments, about half the normal amount, are still coming, but it could take weeks for families to see the money. And Democrats call the president's comments immoral, vowing to keep fighting for full funding in court. Finally this morning, a burst of light unlike anything ever seen in the universe. Astronomers say they've detected the biggest black hole flare ever recorded, shining as bright as 10 trillion suns. The explosion came from a supermassive black hole violently devouring a giant star. It sounds like a sci-fi movie, right? What scientists call a cosmic outburst. The event happened an astonishing 10 billion light years away, making it both the brightest and most distant black hole flare ever recorded. Researchers say the scale is what made it so intense. A star of at least 30 times the size of our sun, swallowed by a black hole more than 500 million times bigger. You following me here? A kind of cosmic collision that reminds us some things in the universe are simply beyond imagination. Ain't that the truth? All right, before we head out, here's what we're tracking today. A royal view this morning. Prince William takes his Earthshot mission to new heights, meeting finalists atop Rio's iconic Christ the Redeemer in Brazil. At 10, some lucky residents at the Copenhagen Zoo get a post-Halloween treat, pumpkins, straight from the city's holiday display. Back home, the Supreme Court takes up President Trump's tariff case, a major test of presidential power on trade. And in Washington, anti-Trump demonstrators mark 1 year since his re-election with a rally at the monument. Hey, we're the fastest, fairest 8 minutes in news. Tell your friends about us. Watch us on SAN.com and our app. You can also stream us on Spotify. How about that? Those are your unbiased updates for this Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.